Shawn Nixon, thank you so much for coming on the Free Yourself podcast again. I
Yeah,
love you,
man.
brother.
Love you too, buddy.
Real quick, can you just explain to people who you are and what you do, and from like all right, I got certifications, I have my YouTube page and stuff. I know you're gonna go off on a tangent of like, oh, I'm just here to like, but I
Yeah,
want
I
people to
mean,
really know like who you are, like real quick, serious, and then we'll get to.
yeah. So I mean, I'm incarnated in this fucking dimension to help people and serve the people, and that's it. And have fun and learn and give back. Um, I'm a certified personal trainer and strength coach, and I help people become the best version of themselves and think differently, move differently, and eat differently, and love themselves.
See, I love that. I love that about you. And the main reason why I specifically love talking to you about all this is because you have absolutely changed my life, Shawn. Like I'm I'm
It's my
I'm
privilege,
starting
man. I'm grateful.
I'm starting to tear up. Like you've changed my life. Like it holy shit. I'm
Well, that's
crying.
so
This is
beautiful,
the
bro.
first time I'm crying on my
How many,
podcast.
how many episodes? I haven't cried yet. I think I cried a bunch on the ones that were just audio that John and I did because we got super deep. But we keep it mad professional on ours now. You know what I mean? So I haven't gotten that deep enough. But that's what it's all about, brother, because that just means that you love yourself. So you're feeling an emotion from the past brought into the future. You know what I mean? So now that emotion is present and you're feeling it and letting it out. So that's a good thing, man.
Oh, oh I'm
It's an honor and I'm privileged and I'm grateful.
I'm never afraid to tell anybody that I cry. And man,
Well, if
it
you don't, you'd be a liar and that ain't no good.
yeah, it's like, so just to tell people like how you've changed my life. Like first of all, let's just go back to when I first started with Princeton Fitness and Wellness. Like I was doing every lift wrong. I was I was terrible. Like you'll start with just the lifting part. Like you rebuilt all my lifts, bench, squat, deadlift. I guess I identify as a power lifter at some points, but I try not to do that now because I don't want to be like just in one bubble of and but you so physically you've rebuilt all those lifts. Then I blew out my ACL and we had to start over again. And I fuck man. I went from not being able to lift my leg off of the freaking table to setting a New Jersey state record WMPF deadlift for a 165-pound weight class. And it was because of mainly like two people that helped me most of my life were you and Mike at my physical therapist. They oh man.
Well, let me just say that rehab was real quick and easy because of your hard work. That had nothing to do with us.
Oh, but I I didn't believe the lie that I had to like baby myself into it. I was upfront and honest with. I mean, you knew that there was no way I was just trying to be like a freaking I don't know a 60-year-old woman with a knee replacement that's trying to just walk again. Like you knew that I wanted to be back to being a fucking top athletic performance, and I was upfront and honest with that with Mike too, my physical therapist, and the reason why I chose him was because he did his I don't think it's called residency. It's something before that when he's
Yeah,
in PT school, but he was at I think it was Oklahoma or Alabama, whichever one. I think Alabama actually, when
yeah,
Adrian Peterson was going through his ACL
yeah.
reconstruction and stuff. And so you guys combined your guidance freaking rebuilt all my lifts and I'm way stronger than I was before ACL surgery. And that I want to tell people because like it's not like I just watched a video on John Ross, the wide receiver. I think he's on the Bengals.
Yeah.
I saw his He's the fastest 40-yard dash time ever at the combine. 4.22 40-yard dash, fastest ever at the NFL combine. And that motherfucker 2 years before he did that blew out his ACL.
Yeah.
And had to restart. And that, I just want people to know that when you tear your ACL, that is not the end of your athletic performance. You can come back stronger than before. And
any diagnosis. Anytime the doctor says something, that's not a life sentence. You need to fucking get all the tears out, get your mind right, and then move forward. If you attach yourself to that injury or disease or diagnosis that a doctor or whomever gives you, then you're going to be stuck there. But when you put your head in the future and stay focused on the present moment, you can do anything.
It's been, and so much of it, you know, I've been focusing so far on the physical part of it, but the mental and the emotional and the spiritual part of this was the belief that you guys, you know, instilled in me, and man, I was like, because the reason why I brought up that whole thing of like, because I don't want to put myself in the bubble as identifying as just a power lifter, is because of that whole process, right? Like I blew out my ACL and I was like, what's my identity now? Because I was athletic and lifter and all that. And I was like,
every athlete.
So now now I'm Ryan, and like, I'm just living a day at a time. But a big part of this, you know, that I also want to bring up is how you've changed my life through my diet. Now, I have been my skin is better than it's ever been before, and my breathing, my asthma is better than it's ever been before. I can't say that it's, you know, cured, because if I eat the wrong thing, it'll come back, right? But it's much like my the disease of addiction, it can only be arrested. So right now, I'm breathing better than I've ever been, and my skin is clearer than I've ever been before. And it's all because of me following the strict diet rules that you showed me. And this stuff is so important for me to talk about, because everything starts with diet, and you guys have amazing videos on your YouTube channel about all of that. And so how the hell did you find out about all these different things with diet? I mean, I'm very limited, but it's all things that I love, so I don't feel limited in my diet. You know, the only thing that is bothersome is me trying to figure out where I can go out to eat with friends and family and stuff.
That's easier than you think, and we'll go over that once shit opens up a little more. But yeah, I've been doing this for a long time, man, and I've experimented with every diet there is. But let me go back real quick, because you were talking about changing your life as far as the knee rehab and sports performance and stuff like that. But what I remember is originally when I was a trainer at Plainsboro and you were a sales guy, and coming in and talking to you, the energy that I felt was you being worried or whatever about other people judging you about your past and stuff and what you went through and how hard it was to get the job because of that past. And I was just there for more like empathy and understanding, you know, because you used to tiptoe around, not tiptoe, but like say stuff around your past. And then like I felt energy of like shame and guilt that you were holding on to. And I was there for empathy and understanding, because anything that anybody's done, I've done worse. If you think you're guilty for eating junk food, I've eaten 10 times more. You're guilty from doing some drug or drinking too much, I've done 10 times worse. So I don't have no gavel. I'm not here to judge nobody. You know what I mean? Everybody's the same. So if you're judging somebody, you're judging yourself. That's what judgment is. Self-judgment is a form of fear, and you're just holding yourself back. And when you judge others, you're projecting. So that means you're judging something of others that you don't like in yourself. So once you become aware of that, ain't no time for judging anybody. It's interesting to observe without judgment and have that little conversation in your head. And you're like, oh, look at that. That's interesting, you know? But that's what I felt first, because that's more of like a confidence. Because I'm like, this guy's awesome, and he's like holding shit back because he thinks these fucking Princeton losers are gonna judge him if he's like, I'm a DJ that did drugs and did this and did that. You know what I mean? But like now I've cleaned up and I've bettered myself, and I'm an athlete and I eat healthy and I'm here to help people and spread positivity. You know? I'm like, shit, me too.
It's man, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I haven't opened up totally about, you know, what I've done in my past, because it's honestly, it's not important. What's important is that I used to live a certain way, and I was able to climb out of that with the guidance of people like you in my life, with Narcotics Anonymous, with my sponsor, all the sponsors that I've had. You know, I'm it's also important to say, my first sponsor, for in Narcotics Anonymous, he amazing, beautiful person. Um it was about a year ago, we went through the he passed away clean, and that was really tough. And um but like, what I was told when I got to Narcotics Anonymous is that we don't use no matter what, and any day without any day that we don't use is a successful day, and that's okay for me to know that and believe that. And I don't ever want to pass judgment on anybody else who has, smokes weed every day, drinks wine, whatever, what gets messed up with their friends. Because like it hasn't taken you to the spot that it's taken me, where I needed to stop it. Like that stuff, it's a privilege. It's a privilege. It's not a right to be able to do that stuff. It's a privilege to be able to live the way that you want to live. And like I messed that privilege up, right? So like right now, just for today, I do not have that privilege anymore, where I can use successfully, whatever that means in my life. And bringing that into, one good thing. Well, there's many good things that have come out of this, right? But one good thing was the humility piece. um I had to go into places and say, look, like I fucked up bad, but like I'm trying to really change my life. And like if you give me a shot, like I'm gonna be your best employee. I'm gonna work harder than everybody. And that is how I got the job at Princeton Fitness and Wellness. It's so funny that that place, which, we have our opinions about it now, but like that place really did change my life. First off, it introduced me to you. It also introduced me to Chris D'Souza and John Matthew, the so many incredible people. And but also like gave me an opportunity to steer my life in the right direction. Um,
And you backed all that shit up that you said too, by the way, and you proved all that. And I'm glad you brought that to. It doesn't matter the negative energy of that place and the goods and the bads and whatever. It put us on the path of meeting each other and other good people. So I'm forever grateful for that.
Dude, everything happens exactly the way it's supposed to happen. Like I now don't
Always.
work there anymore, and I'm now doing the things that I love and want to every day. So like it led me to that path. So like I can say whatever I want about that. Like it brought me here. It brought me to where I can do freaking podcasts with you. It brought me to where I can make music with Chris and on my own. And it brought me to being able to be with my brother-in-law and his company and help out. And like it's
Only good things happen. Only good things happen. Sometimes you get caught up in the emotion and you're like, this sucks. Life's not going my way. Whether shit goes your way and you get what you want or not, that's still the right thing. You just got to zoom out sometimes or wait for the time to play out. You know what I mean? Only good things happen.
it's that what I guess you would call it a fable or whatever, the story of the farmer who like his crops all went to forget what it is. It's
Yeah,
his
it's a parable, but yeah, that's a good one.
I can't even I can't even explain it and butcher it, but it's like,
Yeah, he got a tractor and he broke his leg and shit.
yeah, yeah. And they were like, oh, that's so shame. That's so terrible that your son broke his leg. And he's like, I don't know if it is. And
He's
then,
like, I'm good.
yeah. And then
They're like, how can you be good? This is a tragedy.
Yeah. And then there was a draft to the war and his son couldn't go because he had a broken leg. And they're like, oh, that's great that he's not going to war. And he's like, I don't know if that's okay. And then more and more stuff happened, but it was, and
so the lesson there is to not react, is to take a deep breath and see what the fuck shit's gonna play out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is, and I don't want to get into current events and politics, but that's a summation of fucking 2020. Is shit's on a down slope, therefore it's time to fucking capitalize when shit comes back around. And I don't know when that's gonna be, 1 year, 5 year, 10 year, but what goes down must come up. You know what I'm saying? So something good's happening.
The roller coaster of life.
Yeah. Every adversity contains the seed of an equal opportunity.
Mm-hmm. And shit, if people don't believe that, you haven't. I believe you haven't taken a good enough look at your life to see exactly what's happened. And if you think if anybody thinks they're like still on the downslope and they've never hit the up, well, that just means that imagine how high your freaking peak is going to be. Like, I promise you that.
But people don't get to experience that sometimes if they don't shift their mindset. So that's just perspective. You can have the greatest time in your life right now if you choose to. You know what I mean? Like the glass. Some people's like, is the glass half empty? Is the glass half full? Whatever. To me, there's never two choices. To me, the glass is beautiful and it's delicious and it's hydrating us and the light is hitting it just right and everything's fucking perfect. You know what I mean? It's more than that. Life is deep, man.
Absolutely. It doesn't matter how much is in the glass. We're lucky to have one.
There you go, right? Right? You arguing, is it empty, is it full, is it half full? It's like, I have a glass, I'm grateful.
Oh, man. And
Straight up.
There's
gratitude is the opposite of guilt, right? So a lot of people hold on to guilt. You need to trade in your guilt for gratitude and you feel a lot better. And that's what I was saying about changing your perspective. It's like, oh, this happened to me and I did this and I'm holding on to all my old bullshit. Once you let all that go and you're grateful for what you do have, then you switch from a mindset of lack and a feeling of lack to a feeling of abundance. So gratitude every day keeps you in a state of growing because your mind and your body thinks you already have enough. So everything is all good. It's not, oh, one day this is going to happen and maybe one day, whatever. There is no one day. There is no future. The future does not exist. The future is your imagination. Right now is all that exists. That's the past is your memory. It ain't coming back. The future ain't going to happen how you think it's going to happen. So overreacting and being anxious about it ain't going to help. All you can do right now is be positive and control your thoughts and your actions.
And shit, man, that's why I love the saying "just for today." And I learned it from Narcotics Anonymous. Like it's just for today means so much to my life. Cause right, if I'm only focusing on what's happening right now, I'm in the moment and I'm not trying to control anything. And all my life it was the anxiety of like losing control of what's happening around me, right? But the reality is that I've never had control.
You ain't never controlled nothing but this, man. Shit is always gonna happen. Stuff never stops happening on the outside, but you can only control your reaction to it. And you can't control shit else. It's beautiful.
So many things in my life I was holding on to such freaking anger, resentment, shame, guilt. Like,
it's the best. You're just holding on to that old anger, squeezing on, and resentment and fucking anger is like fucking taking poison and thinking it's gonna hurt somebody else. Fucking just poisoning yourself, bro. And you said it perfectly. Once you're aware of it, then you just let it go. And once again, easier said than done. But once you figure out how to do that mentally, man, life is fun.
And at any moment, like, I'm not saying that I'm always like that now. Like, at any moment I can get back into that. Right? Like, it's at any moment I can start thinking about the past and start feeling guilty or resentful or angry or extremely depressed and sad, and sometimes I can fall back into that. Like, I'm not fucking perfect, but like now, because of so many times of going through that, it sometimes it happens quicker than others. I take the step back and I'm like, oh, that's what I'm doing.
I would like to say that you are perfect, but what you are is a human. Therefore, you're trying your best and shit happens and you're fallible. But once you take a step back and detach yourself from those thoughts and realize that you are not your thoughts and thoughts come and go like a cloud, then you're like, oh, I can just observe these thoughts. And you listen to those little negative voices in your head and you're like, oh, that's cute. Is your little story done? Like, that's a fun story. Oh, and you have, but this happened and that happened and this happened. It's like, all right, so you got facts to back up your story. That's cool. But like, are you done now? Because we got shit to do. So whenever the voices are done having their story, you're like, okay, those are old emotions. Do I want to take those old emotions from the past and bring them to my future? No, I don't. So right now in the present, let's fucking let that shit go.
And we talked about this. It was just yet no, wow, it feels like just yesterday. But on Thursday when we were talking on the phone, and how when I realized the next morning after a nightmare, I carried that emotion from the nightmare, the like terrified and sad, and like it was like I had a black cloud over me, and I was like, holy shit. And then like I finally was like, Ryan, like that literally was a figment of my imagination, and I carried the emotion into the day. And it 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 was actually a nightmare that I had, and I woke up at like 3 a.m. and I couldn't get back to sleep. And it wasn't until like maybe like close, I'm talking like afternoon, when I was like, oh shit, this has affected my entire day. And like I was able to like finally take that step back. And then I was like, holy shit, this is exactly what happens when I'm thinking about freaking, whatever
It feels real.
Insert whatever the fuck I'm thinking about. And the emotion is coming through and affecting my day. And so like, and then I realized like I don't even know what I did today, because I wasn't there. I was in the past in my head. Like, like so many little, I don't know what some people, I call them like spiritual awakening type moments. And it's when something like fucking just clicks and you're able to have that new, it's like you have there's a book called Wheels in the Head, and it's like they finally like click, and then they sink in and you're like, oh shit. And like you can finally,
the train tracks is going and they flip the fucking lever and it goes to the other track and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah. Oh man, that so I'm
because spiritual, whatever the fuck word you want to use, awakenings and shit like that, enlightenment, all that don't happen on a meditation cushion or on a yoga mat. It happens when you become aware of your old bullshit and those old patterns, and you're able to say, wait a second, how many times I got to learn this lesson and do this dumb shit over and over again? And you're like, wait, I'm going to break that pattern right now. And I'm going to become a better person right now because of my thoughts and actions. And I'm not going to continue my old negative bullshit. Mm-hmm. That's winning. That's enlightenment, is becoming a better person by stopping your old bullshit. We got to be aware of it first, like you said.
Being able to take that step back, and sometimes it fucking, it can take a long time with certain different parts of like certain memories and certain past things that have happened are much harder for me to, and have been much harder for me to take a step back from and become aware of what I'm doing. And, you know,
Daily work.
it's, man, like heartbreak, stuff like that always took me a lot longer to realize and be able to take a step back and remove myself from that situation. And I was just talking to a good friend, and they're going through, you know, a grieving period of losing a loved one. And and there was what was the quote? I'm gonna butcher the quote, whatever. Oh, but it's something, it's because people always say when you lose someone in any form, right? You lose someone, whether it be them dying or a breakup of a relationship, anything like that. What do people tell you? Give it time, right? But that's not all, right? It's not just that the time in between the event happening, and it's not like when you break an arm and 6 weeks later it's healed, right? It's
Right.
like, you're not going to give it, you know, a certain amount of time and like it's healed. But what is important is like what happens in that time, and like what you're doing in that time. And holy shit, like I never heard it said to me like that.
Well said.
And it freaking again like turned the wheels in the head.
Yep.
It's like anything that we go through, like yes, it will take time to get over or
Not like next Tuesday you're gonna be straight. It's like, no, it's the time. It's what you do in that time. I love that. How it fucking switched my gears was a very, very, very long time ago. I remember exactly where I was when somebody told me this. A teaching from the Buddha, right? I lost a lot of people in my life real early on, right? And since then too. And the story is, the lady comes to the Buddha and she says, my son died, my baby died, this is fucking terrible, why me? And she's crying and she's flipping out and she's losing her mind and she's screaming and crying, and why does this always happen to me and I'm the victim and this sucks and it's terrible? And the Buddha goes, all right, I'm gonna fix your shit. He goes, what I want you to do is go around to everybody's house in the village and bring me a grain of salt from somebody's house that has never felt like you're feeling right now and has never lost nobody. And she comes back the next day with nothing. And she's not crying no more. And she says, I understand now. And that's empathy, because everybody got problems and everybody been through some shit. It's just switching your perspective. And I love what you said. It is time, but it is not a timetable. It's what you do within that time, in between here.
And a big part of that, you know, the whole reason why this podcast is called Free Yourself, a lot of these things and realizations only happen if I'm talking with people and I'm talking about my experiences. And that like I'm blessed that I have, you know, a sponsor and you and best friends and people that I can talk to. You know, some people go to a therapist. I got a whole bunch of them. I got, you know, I got a whole bunch of people that I can talk to about my problems. And it's only through, because inside my head it can get real dark, and I can make the freaking, but as soon as not as soon as, but a lot of times, as soon as I say it out loud, I'm like,
hilarious.
Oh man, like that,
because you become aware.
It sounded way worse, and also it sounded way better in my head, and I'm like, oh, bring me back down to earth. And I'm like, but it's but also that part about it inside my head, it can get real dark. Like that's because I'm the only one inside my head and I'm alone. And as soon as so the whole higher power thing is when I remember that I'm actually not the only one inside my head and I have a higher power. And every time I'm thinking negatively, that's the lower power trying to overcome the higher power. But as soon as I can switch that and I can start, even if, and sometimes, like, look, for anybody that religion, you know, turns you off, the word God turns you off, whatever. I say God just because it's easy. Like my higher power, like I don't believe in any one religion, anything. Like I have a loving and caring power that's greater than myself that can help me through anything. And I mean,
God with a capital God, like a white guy with a beard that lives in the clouds that watches you jerk off and sends you to hell and gives you presents on Christmas and shit. It ain't like that. So when you're saying higher self and higher power and lower, darker shit, that's exactly what I'm saying when I'm saying your soul or your spirit or whatever word you want to talk about, and your ego. And then that's why you are not your thoughts. You said that really well.
Thank you. Thank you, Narcotics Anonymous, for teaching me for giving this
Yeah.
stuff. You know, man, I was at a meeting last night, and the beautiful thing you mentioned, you know, she went around to all the houses and couldn't find one grain of salt because everybody goes through the same shit. And the beautiful part is when you're going through something or you have those thoughts in your head, and then you find out someone else that is so like for me last night, like I was at a meeting and like there was a woman sharing at the front of the room. So like immediately, man, woman, oh, we have different experiences in life. We're not the same, you know, like that. And but look, she said she was adopted, so I'm not sure if she knew she was definitely African American, but I don't know if she was mixed half or she actually looked like she might have been a little bit Puerto Rican, like me. She got a little, but what I really related to her in saying was growing up, she was adopted into a family that was a black father and a white mother, and she said she wasn't taught like white is right, but she in her head was like, I wish I was white, and she didn't identify and was ashamed of her being African American. Now I can really relate to that because it wasn't that I got made fun of a lot because I was half Puerto Rican, and I wanted to only identify with the Italian side of me, right? Like I was like, no, I'm white, I'm Italian, I'm because I would be like, you know, the derogatory words of spick, and I would get called a Mexican as if being a Mexican was something bad. You know what I mean? Like that's how
I'm not even Mexican, and that ain't even a bad thing. So the fuck is you saying? That's hilarious.
Yeah, and but for so long I didn't identify with that part of me, and she talks about like finding herself and being, and especially, you know, she was like she's like I'm talking about this like right in the middle of like the whole Black Lives Matter stuff, and she was like it's important for me to talk about this, and I want anyone who knows Narcotics Anonymous knows that you're not supposed to talk about what people say in the meetings, but it's only
don't say her name and shit.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm not saying who was talking about this, but it's important for me to talk about how I related to it, and
right.
And because it was someone who looked nothing like me and had a completely different life, but we related with the feelings and the emotions and the experiences that we had. It was
100%.
That's the part, and that's why I'm so grateful that I have these places to go and talk, and these people to go and talk to about these things, because like I said, like inside my head can become the darkest place, and it's so important for me to verbalize and talk about these things, and that's what free yourself is. That's what this whole thing is, and I got that term from Narcotics Anonymous. Like it's when they ask about does anyone have a burning desire, and a burning desire can be something good, right? Like out of the context of Narcotics Anonymous, like I have a burning desire to be the greatest, you know, DJ and producer in the world, and like you that sets me on fire and it gets me going. But the burning desire in terms of Narcotics Anonymous is that you're not going to make it through the day without hurting yourself or hurting another human being. And so when someone says at the front, like the chairperson says at the beginning of or at the front of the room, does anyone have a burning desire? You know, what does that mean? It means you're not going to make it through the night without hurting yourself or hurting somebody else. And then someone else in the audience, usually not audience, but in the meeting, will say, free yourself. And that's because if you hold on to that feeling and you don't share that you have that burning desire, like you're going to leave there and you might die.
I love that. Everybody looking for freedom. Any goal and any purpose in life and all that is just happiness, which is an arbitrary word that means freedom. That's fucking beautiful. And everybody's got that dark shit in their head. What were you gonna say?
Duncan Trussell. Oh, love that man. I love that man. He talked about with Russell Brand, another guy that I really love. They were talking on their podcast about how Duncan brought up that the pursuit of happiness keeps us from being happy in the moment.
Yep.
And once we realize it's in the moment that you're happy and it's not over there, and I'm not trying to get it.
One day I'm going to be happy if shit goes right. It's like, nah, that's assuming, that's telling your subconscious that shit sucks right now. And that it's maybe one day, but your subconscious knows there ain't no one day. There's only now. So you're just playing more games in your head. Yeah. So if you want to play games, play the positivity game. Play the game of I'm grateful right now because shit's perfect and I'm awesome. And then that manifests itself. Because everybody's got them dark voices in their head, right? You have the fucking eternal pessimist that sees the fucking negativity everywhere and you sit him in the corner. And then you got the fucking victim where it's like, why the fuck is this happening to me again, and it rolls through the list of all bad shit that's happening to you, and you sit him in the other corner. You got the sex maniac that has these like horrible, weird fucking thoughts, and some of them is right and some of them is wrong, and you sit him in the other corner. And then there's like the vengeful murderer that fucking sees somebody cut you off in traffic or sees somebody hurt somebody else, and you have this vision in your head that you're just fucking pummeling them because you're like, if that happened to me, and what the fuck, and blah, 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 and all these, and then you sit them down, and you don't ignore them, and you fucking invite them in for tea, and you're like, all right, guys, you fucking talk amongst yourselves because I got positive shit to do.
That's a great way to explain it.
Everybody got those boys. Am I the only one? Am I the only one that has daydreams of crazy sex and crazy murdering of bad people? Not randomly, you know what I mean? Of bad people, bad, and fucking then the negative shit from the past. And then some people have the fifth voice that I really don't have too much because I got it tamed, and it's the what if this happens and what if this is the guy that's in the future. That's the fifth voice. I tell him to shut the fuck up all the time because the one in the past is so loud that the future voice don't even get a moment to fucking speak. For me personally, but those are the five voices that people have. I'm not enough. Why did this happen to me? And that's usually what it is. But all of it comes down to freedom and happiness, like you said. That's why the name, the phrase "free yourself" is fucking perfect.
And just now, see where now I'm talking about how talking about things out loud brings out these these moments where the wheels turn in the head the right way. So like just listening to what you're saying, it now made sense in my head about we are not our emotions, right? Like I know that, but now I have a practical application. So how am I not my emotions? Well, my emotion, so say the emotion of sadness is it's another voice. It's not my voice. It sounds like me in my head. It sounds like me in my head.
Movie Inside Out?
No, but I know what
That's a must watch.
I know what it is, and
it's one of the best movies of all time.
Now that I'm saying this out loud, it just makes so much sense. You know,
name and picture all those emotions so it doesn't look and sound like you. Give them fucking fictional names, draw them, think about them. And so you're detached from them.
So it's the million voices in my head are separate from me. They are emotions that try to control the now.
But you're observing those. So you can be like, all right, are you guys done? Because like I want to do some good shit here and you guys are fucking slowing me down.
Like I just had that moment, the million voices in my head. That's friggin'
watch that fucking movie.
That's why I love doing it.
Kids movie. It's cartoon. It's like, all right, bro.
Yeah.
I learned something.
Oh man, this stuff is.
But it's cool because it's I forget all of it. It's like happiness, sadness, guilt, anger, and something else, right? And they're all fighting for all the controls in this little girl's brain. And you see her growing up, so obviously the emotions switch. And there's like a memory bank, and there's like things that trigger certain memories, and like all this is animated out, and it flashes back to her life and shit. So like happiness is always trying to fucking pull the shit, and anger will come in and be like, boom, God, and start hitting buttons in the head, and guilt. Oh, and then there's anxiety that's like, oh, what if this happens? And happiness is like, chill, chill, chill. But you don't always win. Happiness doesn't always win. You know what I mean? But when you realize they're separate entities and they are not you, then you can go about life a lot better. And that's the thing, because every spiritual guru, every religion, every fucking philosopher, and every scientist are all saying the same thing. All the messages are the same. You know, the universe, Mother Nature, we are all one, God is everything, all that shit. That's just the quantum field in quantum physics. It's everything. We're all connected through fucking particles. You know, if you're on some hippie spiritual shit, you would say we're all connected through love, right? If you're on some religious shit, you'll say we're all God's children are connected under that. And in science, it's we're all connected through the same energy field, literally energy.
Mm-hmm. And that, so that was how meditation was beautifully explained to me, and why it's important to do them. And so we are all made up, you know, we go scientifically, we're all made up of atoms, right? And atoms have the nucleus, right? And the protons and the electrons are flying around all crazy all around it. So really, what is most of that atom? It's energy holding all of that together.
100%, all of it.
The electrons are going nuts,
yep,
wild all over the place.
So if you focus on that, then you're going nuts.
And what meditation does is it makes the electrons, instead of going crazy and all over the place, it brings them to go on a smooth path where they're all like going around.
And then you can identify with that empty space and that love and that energy instead of identifying with the craziness. John was calling it the fucking pinball machine in your head that's always going off. Bing, 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 bing. There's balls going everywhere. You can't get nothing done like that. So what meditation is when you fucking tell the dog to fucking sit, and he has to stay until you're ready to do the next thing or give him the treat. And your body's like, I gotta check my email, I gotta check my text, I gotta check my inbox, I gotta check this, we got shit to do today, whatever. And it's like, relax. When you guys fucking can calmly get in order, then we're gonna handle the day properly. Because right now I can't do shit with this pinball machine going off. So then you just keep breathing and keep following your breath. And then another thought's gonna pop in. And then the fun game is to be like, all right, is this thought the to-do list and the anxiety list of the future? Or is this thought the emotion and what the fuck happened to me in the past game? Because that's all those games are. There's only two on that. That's binary, that's duality. There's no one. And then once there's no voice, which takes time in the meditation practice, then you're like, oh, here I am now in the present moment. And everybody's sitting down and shutting the fuck up, all you stupid voices, for a moment. All right, let's get up and fucking have a good day. And then that carries on throughout the day. That's why meditation is so important. It's not the 20 minutes you're sitting there.
And the meditations with, like, I love chakra meditation, Tibetan bowl meditation, and crystal bowl meditation. Those are like the three that make me, you know, that because
I love. What is music? Music is vibrational energy. And that's what that is. Sound healing and vibration. It's the same fucking thing.
And what the woman who introduced me to Tibetan bowl meditation said was that all seven of her bowls, the frequency is to match up with all seven chakras. Yep. And so the frequency that comes off of it centers each chakra. And then once all your chakras are centered and aligned and you've drawn in energy, like I don't have, you know, Tibetan bowls in front of me, but like I can listen to it on, you know, I can.
Oh, you gotta get some
and stuff like that. But
I'll get some. Fuck with it.
No, I that's definitely on my to-do list. But
they're cheap and worth it.
The part that I wanted to talk to about that is that no matter what, if I have them or not, what I can always do is one thing that I forget what meditation it was, but it told me just to put one hand on your heart chakra and then one hand down here. I forget. I don't know all seven chakras and what they're called, but
Names don't matter.
yeah.
It's all energy.
What's important is being able to draw energy into them. And when I focus on my breathing and I just do this because I know my meditation's working when I can feel my heartbeat.
That's a good one. So
The heartbeat.
that's
And
beautiful. So there's
as
7.
soon as I do that, I start to feel the heartbeat and then I'm breathing and then it makes me smile and it's like, oh.
It's an amazing, blissful feeling. So the heart is always the key because that's the bridge one. That's the middle. There's 3 lower and 3 upper, right? And the lower is more primal stuff and the upper is more spiritual stuff. But the heart's always in the middle, right? So you're trying to get your heart and your sacral chakra to balance so you can let go of your feelings of guilt and all the primal stuff. But the next level to that, or my favorite one, is getting your heart and your brain to vibrate at the same frequency. So your crown chakra or your pineal gland, with your third eye chakra and your heart, when they vibrate on the same frequency, and when I say vibrate on the same frequency, I'm not talking about hippie bullshit. I'm talking about shit you can measure through science, through meditation. When they vibrate on the same frequency, you can kind of feel the energy coming like out and up and in, and then sometimes up this way through the crown chakra, and that's when shit really starts happening. But yeah, I love all that shit, man. That's important.
The stuff with the Tibetan bowls, I'll never forget the first time I experienced it. It all happened because I had an open mind, right? Like that's the first most important part of any of these practices that we're talking about. You got to be open to even trying them, right? And then so what happened was it was when I was in detox before I went to rehab, and they were bringing in a yoga person and I was like, hell yeah, I'll do yoga. Let's do this. And she had a gong and she had the Tibetan bowl. And after we did yoga, one of the people that worked there was like, I had to, she's like, she took it to a whole nother level. She's like, I had to stop meditating because I was doing it so much because it's a high. It is a high. And she was doing it so much so that she wasn't doing anything. So she was like, it was like, just like a good addict. Anything that we take that makes us feel good, we want to keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. And she wound up doing it so much so that she wasn't doing anything else. And so she had to stop. She had to like take a step back. And this time when she came in, she's like, I'm open to bring it back into my life. And just, but what she said was it's a high. So like a good addict, I was like, I can get high. You know what I mean? Like
something with something else. Yeah.
So I was like, all right. And for the first time ever, I laid down and I had my hands up and I was on the yoga mat, and it was the first time that my body, the electrons and all of that stuff was flowing, and I felt my whole body's vibration, and like the aura coming off me, I swear was like that big around my hands. And I was like, oh my God, this is the high I've been looking for my whole
life. Through other chemical substances, but it's all been here the whole time.
And I was
that's the best Terrence McKenna quote. He goes, we're all drug dealers. We're all holding. He's like, fuck substances. All the chemicals is here, bro.
We have all drugs is activation of all the chemicals.
Yes, looking for something outside that you already have inside you, that you don't want to do the work to do. It's a shortcut.
Yeah, and
not good or bad or judging it, because some drugs is medicine and some is recreation and some is bad and whatever. But I'm just saying, it's a shortcut.
And one another thing that like clicked for me so after detox, you go to rehab, and then in rehab is when we had a woman come in for like 2-hour sessions doing the Tibetan bowls and just laying there and oh fuck me, dude. Like when it's in the same room as you and not just on YouTube and shit, it's a whole nother level. But what I learned there was that when I close my eyes, and people are going to say it's crazy. And I know it's happening for me. I close my eyes, and when I center in on my third eye, what color, you know quite a bit about chakras. What color is the third eye?
I was going to say purple, but it's like an indigo.
It's indigo. I think it's indigo, and then violet's the crown. It's the rainbow, right?
And in my head, like the indigo and violets look similar, but yeah.
Yeah, indigo is the more blue, and violet is more purple, right?
Yep, that's a good way to describe it.
And when I close my eyes and I focus on my third eye, what happens? But a swirling bluish circle in the black abyss of my eyes. And
yeah, man.
When I found that, I was like, I keep getting more evidence and more evidence of all of this stuff being real, and it's
the only thing that is real. I gotta hook you up with you ever done acupuncture? You gotta see my man Dr. Chen.
No.
Bro, 5 generations. His grandma's grandma taught him acupuncture. You've never been so high in your entire motherfucking life. In your life.
2 things that you've been telling me to do for a long time is chiropractor and
chiropractor is pretty fantastic as like a short-term fix. But you wouldn't need it if you go to acupuncture.
Really?
Yeah, and there's a million other things I can recommend, but like for short term and for like right away and long term benefits, Dr. Chen, man, it's totally worth it.
We'll get the location and all that shit after.
Check it out. 7 chakras, right? 7 colors in the rainbow, right? How many musical notes is there?
Well, A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
7. That's a motherfucking coincidence, or you think everything is connected? It's all vibration, bro. Color vibration you just pick up with your eyes. The musical vibration you pick up with your ears. The universe ain't fucking around. This is a fucking, like, whatever. That's why it's easy for people to make the God metaphor and the parables and stories in the Bible, because none of this is a mistake and none of this is coincidences. So it's like whatever, all different religions created separatism instead of unity, so that's not good. And then their different stories conflict, so it made for war and judgment and got hijacked by politics, just like everything else. But the actual stories that you learn from is all the fucking same, and it shows everything's right inside your head.
That pineal gland, that pine cone, and the symbols are all over history.
You said symbols, right? You see this in the back? Can you see this shit? You know what that is? That's the eye of Horus. Tens of thousands of years ago, ancient Egypt, they figured this shit out, right? This is your limbic system in your brain, the hypothalamus, right? That's the pineal gland, your third eye, okay? This is all in your brain. I'll send you a Google image of it, right? If you see this now, I'll fucking send you the Google image of it. That science, if you slice your brain in half, it looks exactly like that. They figured this shit out tens of thousands of years ago. This is not a game, man. Or it is a game. Listen, Bruce Lipton, right, is a fucking scientist, neurologist, and he said, you seen The Matrix? He goes, that's not a movie, that's a documentary. Once you realize that billionaires and politicians and like the higher ups, the elites, whatever you want to call them, make up your name for whatever, that they know this is a game, so they use the media to fucking control everybody else, but you're only in control of your own thoughts and actions. So once you see life as a game and everything's perfect and fun, then you can play the game any way you want. You've seen the movie Avatar?
Of course.
You know when the guy goes in the blue thing and then he has to learn how to operate it? Like it's his spacesuit, it's his avatar. This is your avatar. You can change your haircut, you can fucking change your gender, you can change your name, you can change your skin color, you can cut your hair any way you want, get new shoes. You can be whoever you want to be. You play the game however you want. You get tattoos, you learn a new skill, you learn an instrument, you do this and that, you lose fat, gain muscle. This is your avatar to do whatever the fuck you want to interact in this dimension any way you want to experience life. There's no rules to this game. You do whatever the fuck you want.
And there's a reason why the smartest people in the world say it's a simulation. They believe
Yeah, that's the crazy part.
the smartest people in the world.
The probability is way greater mathematically that it is a simulation than it's not. So I'm not saying it is. I'm saying mathematicians have said, because ain't nothing a coincidence and everything is connected, and whatever fucking math that they did that's a million times over my head, I forget what it is. It's like 60-something% chance, greater probability than not, that this is some type of simulation. That's why I was saying, like, it makes sense, the silly religion stories.
Mm-hmm.
None of them are true, but all religions hold truths that we can learn from. Because they're just stories. They're parables that, they're myths, right? So a myth is something that never happened, but is happening all the time within metaphor.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, so like, think about, it's funny when you think about how many people in the Bible are hundreds of years old and stuff, right? And but someone who believes in the Bible literally will say, well, they judged time differently than we do now, and that's just the excuse to
falsify you. No, I love these, like, well, Jesus turned water into wine and he had one fish and he fed fucking 50 homeless people. It's like, that's bullshit, because miracles can't happen. It's like, yo, you're missing the point of that story. The point of that story was he made a party out of the little shit that he had. He was grateful for the little shit he had. And let's not even get too deep into the Bible, because all it says deep down is they was taking mushrooms and loving each other and meditating. And that's what everything is all about. But that's a whole nother thing. You ain't going to believe me. And you got a whole bunch of documentaries to catch up on. But the point is, I love reading like Eastern shit, like Hinduism texts and Buddhism texts and shit like that. And when they talk about Jesus, they're like, yeah, he was awesome. He's like, I don't know why you guys are worshiping him. You kind of missed the point of that story. He was telling you to be a good person and not follow his dumb shit. But but he's a cool guy. He was certainly like great. Like, that's why the only religion I fuck with, which is not a religion, it's more of a lifestyle, is Buddhism, because it's the only one with no dogma, that doesn't pretend like there's an afterlife, that you have to be good now, be a good boy in this life, because I'm going to be rich now. The elites is going to be rich now, and you're going to be poor. But if you're a good boy and you follow the rules, you're going to go to heaven. Heaven is right now, and hell is if you're thinking negatively, straight up.
And Buddhism, like, starts off with, like, question this. If you can find that this stuff isn't true,
let me know.
Good. Don't believe this then. Like, that's the first page of freaking Buddhism. Like,
think for yourself, question everything. Think for yourself, question everything. Where every other religion is dogma, it's if you don't follow the rules word for word, you're going to hell. And then you're trapped in fear. So now you're being led to believe what other people want you to believe. And fear, as an emotional state, stops your growth. You can't have happiness and fear at the same time. Or freedom and fear.
And what I remember you said before, like, God being the old guy with the long beard, the gray beard and stuff. But at the same time, I may not picture the religious God, but I find comfort in that my higher power is a wise old man with a big gray beard. You know what I mean? Like, that's why because that is a person who is older, wiser, and is trying to help me with their experience and their higher power, right? But never the beautiful part of Narcotics Anonymous is well, one of the many beautiful parts is that they tell you your higher power can be anything you want.
Yeah.
It's not
when you
religion.
say it like that, you keep saying they and him and whatever, I think that's your higher self. That's you looking down on this avatar. You know what I'm saying? You're not arms, but you have arms. You know what I'm saying? You can't have a car and be a car at the same time. You're that old wise man, whatever you're picturing, controlling Ryan Janni as a video game. So like I think of it like a video game more than a simulation, because a simulation implies that there's a coder controlling your shit, unless you want to pretend that you're the coder. But I think of it as a video game, that you're going through struggles and challenges, and you got to learn shit, and you get to the next level, and you get to the next level, and there's bosses, and there's challenges, and there's a life bar meter, and all that shit. Like all that shit's going on right now.
Man. And my higher power, so this big old guy, gray beard and stuff. It was crazy when I was describing it. You were saying it as I was thinking it, that it's me older.
Yep.
And I was just like, oh my gosh, because in my head it's my big beard and they got gray dreads and they and I was like, it was like it was coming to me as you were also speaking to me, and I was like,
yep. Anytime I go really deep in meditation or on mushrooms and stuff, I picture something similar like that. That's why I started growing out the beard, to kind of like emulate that. And then it got too straggly or whatever, so I trimmed it up. But I've pictured that exact thing many, many times. So you're not alone on that either. But like I said, I don't think of that as some other guy judging. That's my higher self, or true self, or soul, or spirit, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. You know what I'm saying?
And before we go any further,
that's what the story of Jesus is, by the way. He's telling you, like, you're Jesus, and I'm Jesus. You know what I'm saying? He's saying, be good to yourself and be good to your neighbor. Don't worship some other motherfucker. That doesn't make any sense. Worship yourself by taking care of yourself. And then when you take care of yourself, you can be nice to other people. He never said, follow me and do this and whatever. I'll tell you what, before, let me give you one more thing that there's no way you'll be able to see. Fuck. Maybe I'll send you the picture of this too.
Yeah, hold on. Let me take a piss and then show me. Damn, that needed to happen.
We're getting way too far off the rails here, and there's no possible way you'll be able to see this if I could hold up the fucking stupid screen. This is on my wall right here. All right, you can see it. That's Jesus, that's Buddha, and that's Krishna. They all meditating, right? And they're hanging out together because that's the same avatar. It's the same story that happens over and over again in history, and they all tell you to love yourself and treat other people how you want to be treated, right? So people talk about, you know, Jesus is white. No, Jesus is black. No, Jesus is a woman. It's like, no, you're a fucking stupid idiot. Jesus is you, first of all. And second of all, the story of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, that's fucking, he's Palestinian and his mom was Jewish, all right? That's where the story took place. But that's not the point of the story, okay? Krishna is blue. He's a fucking alien, first of all right? And Buddha, straight up, he's an alien. You got to read in the Vedas too, in the Hindu scripture. He came down in a spaceship and shit and taught people to use their pineal gland to fucking levitate and all sort of shit. But we'll get to that later. Buddha's an Indian guy who was, you know the story of the Buddha of Siddhartha Gautama? He was fucking a prince, so he was rich as shit, right? And every single day they would cook him grass-fed steaks, and he had a harem, so he was having orgies every single day, and he had everything. He had gold and riches, and he literally had everything, right? Think about the avatar or the character of Russell Brand, right? He's having orgies, he's rich, he's famous, he has all this shit, but he's not happy. So the Buddha's like, man, if I got all this food and all this fame and all this money and all these hoes and all this shit that you think you want, but I'm still not happy, I'm still empty, I got to figure this shit out. So he fucking left. He took off all the gold, all the jewelry, left all the hoes, and he sat and meditated under the Bodhi tree. And he figured out everything is in here. That's where happiness and where freedom is. It's not in external fucking pleasures and material things. Now, in this matrix and in this world that we live in, you do need money, which money is bullshit, but you need enough to be comfortable with material stuff. Depending on where you live, you need like 80 to 100,000 to just be comfortable. And then studies show that after that, there's diminishing returns of happiness, because we've all seen plenty of multimillionaires that are not happy at all because they haven't figured out this shit yet.
That also commit suicide.
Precisely. So that's not saying that it's easy to be poor and you can be happy, but that's saying there's plenty of happy, free people that are poor. And in this country and matrix and dimension we live in, once you have enough money to be to meet your Maslow's basic needs, the rest of your happiness comes from here, comes from you. Nobody ever made you sad or happy. They did what they did, and you reacted how you reacted. It's your choice to take a deep breath and react any way you want. It's, she made me mad. No, she didn't. She had her own problems, and she said or did some shit, and you chose to be mad by your reaction. You could have taken a deep breath and saw all sides of it and chose to react any way you want. That doesn't mean things don't happen. Things are always going to happen, but you're only always going to have the option to choose your reaction.
Right there. So, because I was just talking about before the million voices, the million faces of the different emotions, but I was limiting it to the negatives. I'm also not the voice of joy and
No,
the
you're not.
voice of happiness. So right
That's
there,
the
so
that's the kicker.
So now what you just talked about is nobody ever made you feel a certain way. It's
Nope.
They did something
To unlock your life.
Now that I've detached from that other person, place, thing making me feel that way, right? I now know that that space in between is me, and I can choose whichever one of those million voices, reactions, things that happen.
That's the point of meditation. So they're all sitting down in their fucking chairs, and you can take a deep breath and call upon which one you want. Because I'm not saying, if somebody smacks your mom in public, I'm not saying you're not allowed to get angry. I'm saying choose that. Don't let anger get up and start driving the fucking bus. You know what I'm saying? Or you could choose to take a deep breath if something happens and not overreact. You know what I'm saying? Are you gonna are you frozen? Or are you just loving life right now?
I'm freaking.
Are you gonna edit out the piss break? Because John says if we can edit all this shit up, and I want you to email me this file too, because I'll take the time to make clips. Not that I'm gonna post it on my channel, but like we'll link each other and shit. John says he's got a break in the action. You want to wrap this up, and then I'll drive to his house and we'll do a bridge one too. Like, how much time you got?
Yeah, I gotta go. Well, we can.
It's totally up to you. I don't even know what time it is. He just texted me that he's good now, all of a sudden.
Okay, hold on.
It's totally up to you.
Oh, wow. Also, Gordon Hayward went to the Hornets.
Yeah, I just saw that for $1 billion. Fucking $30 million a year. They're just giving away money out here.
Because there's only 12 people that got to pay on the team.
That's exactly right, but
that's like the NBA where it's 55. And
where a running back gets murdered for a fucking $6 million a year and only plays 3 years, and it's the same billionaire owners, whatever. Don't get me down that rabbit hole of money. Because you know what's funny? And I hope we can keep this clip in, at least this part right here. Everybody got their notebook out waiting for us to talk about sets and reps and bench and squat and deadlift and fruits and vegetables. And we mentioned one thing that people think is fitness. We've been all here, which you know makes sense and I know makes sense. But if people are looking for fucking 3 sets of 10 and fucking macros and 150 grams of protein and all that shit, we can talk about that too. But it's just funny that we haven't even mentioned that in fitness whatsoever.
Because everything is connected.
It really is.
Podcast, baby. It really is. Let's go.
You want to wrap this up and call them, and then we'll just do like an hour on our show, or you know what I mean, with your show with us. Yeah. Then you can release them separately.
So what we'll do is so we'll cut this part out, but I'll now be like, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. That was awesome. Blah blah blah, and we'll act as if we're gonna do that, and then let me call her and figure out what we're sure.
Okay.
Yeah, because if we're gonna just hang out later and do dinner or whatever, then yeah, well we can do more. But if we're gonna hang out now and do the Christmas shopping and then go to dinner, then
okay. So you don't even know the plan yet. All right.
So
let me since we're editing this shit, let me call him now and tell him that. Yo, what's up, buddy? So I thought you wasn't available, so him and I just started recording. And he likes to do, but listen to this, he likes to do like 10-hour podcasts that are just rants and rambles, and you know when you get me started, I don't stop, right? So I'm saying with him right now, still on the Zoom listening to this, we wrap up his shit and save the file, and then I drive to your house and we do the bridge one, and then we have more content that we can post later. If you're done with work and shit.
What time would that be?
So he's got to call his girl and see what time that they're hanging out, but potentially would be like 2:30 to 3:30.
That would work. Yeah, I had a couple things shipped around today, so it's like last minute.
Excellent, because I would rather get it all recorded now, and then we could do our shit on Monday. Because that was another question you asked me is when I'm leaving. I'm gone Tuesday through Sunday.
Okay, so we don't even have Wednesday.
Exactly. That's why I was trying to sneak in that other one, but it almost doesn't matter because of Thanksgiving and shit.
Yeah, that works.
Excellent. So we're gonna do 5-minute wrap up. Save the file. He'll email it to me. Then he's gonna talk to his girl, and if we're all good, I'm gonna text you and be there by like 2:30. Sweet. Later, brother.
The tripod broke, so.
Oh shit! Oh, good for saying that. I'll bring mine, and we'll try to rig something up.
Okay.
I was gonna say if you need some,
Man.
free.
Excellent. So this is dope because now we're getting everything in, and we're kind of like warmed up.
Hell yeah.
Because I don't know how long this recording is. You could send me the raw file, and I'll do some editing. And obviously, like I said, you're gonna post it. I just want to pull out 30-second clips for Instagram to tag each other, and obviously edit this junk out. And for his, since we both don't have a ton of time, we'll keep it to like 1 to 2 hours so people can actually listen instead of it being 4 hours and whatever. Just for time's sake.
And I think this was only like an hour anyway.
I think that's golden because people will actually sit and listen to the whole thing and get some fucking laughs and some knowledge or whatever. But yeah, whenever you're ready to jump back in, we'll just do a little. If you have one more question, and we'll turn it into a wrap up or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, but we'll just do the wrap up, man. That right here, Shawn. That was like, there's so many things that happen in this podcast that are exactly what I'm talking about. Only happen when you're able to talk to someone and get outside of my own thoughts, like, and get outside of my head and have these like wheels turn in my head.
Yeah, that was so well said, and that's exactly why people go to therapy. But if you look, I'll get my teachings from whoever. A homeless guy on the side of the street, a stranger in the elevator, my brother on the fucking stupid screen here, whatever. You know what I mean? I'm learning. Everything is an opportunity to learn. Everybody you ever meet knows something that you don't. So that's your job to learn what you can from them instead of judging them and being like, my occupation and my college education shows that I'm smarter than this person, so I'm going to put them in a box and label them. Like, I've learned things from people that have fucking autism and Down syndrome and children and whatever. You look and you learn how to pick something up. They know something about video games, or they know something about empathy or love or communication or Pokemon cards or whatever the fuck it is, and you learn from them. That's on you to learn.
Everybody in the world is better than me at something.
That's something. Not everything, but
Yeah.
something. And you can learn from that.
Absolutely. Oh man, that is a incredible way to end this podcast. Shawn, thank you.
Dude, people are going to be pissed. They had their notebook out and they were ready to learn about 3 sets of 10 and bench press and squat and fruit and protein and carbs and macros, and we went too deep for them.
And this is the stuff that just like, my heart, my spirit is so full right now after
Me too,
this
brother.
conversation, man. Thank you. I love you to death, Shawn. You, like I said at the beginning, you've radically and beautifully changed my life on so many different levels, and this podcast is a beautiful representation of that. I'm so grateful to have you in my life, man. It's just beautiful, man. So thank you. I'm excited to continue doing more of these. Real quick, tell everyone your channel, your podcast.
Oh, shit. I actually got shit to promote now. This is wild. Shawn Nixon on YouTube. You put it on the screen. You're gonna put it right here. You're gonna put a link here, and then put Coach Shawn Nixon right over here from my Instagram, and the link is in the bio and all that good bullshit. You know what I'm saying? We got podcast, the Bridge podcast with John Matthew and me and I. I got silly YouTube videos that are gonna turn into dope YouTube videos, and I got random ass Instagram content that's gonna turn into dope Instagram content because I'm learning and I'm getting better every single day.
Freaking beautiful, man. Thank you again for coming on the podcast. I'm looking forward to continuing to grow with you, brother. I love you to death, man.
Oh yeah, I love you too, man.
And to everybody that tuned in, thank you so much for your love and support. Thank you for letting this be what I get to do. It blows my mind, and I'm so grateful. So everybody, spread peace, spread love, spread unity, and respect.
And spread your cheeks, motherfuckers.
Love you guys. Peace.
Peace.